The entire House of El has come together to oppose the threat that is Rogol Zaar. Can they do it? Well, let's hop into the pages of Superman issue number 12 and find out for ourselves, shall we? Alrighty then, so as we join the comic, we actually get to check in with the coalition of villains who escaped from the Phantom Zone a little bit before the end of the last issue. Jax-Er, who looks totally different now, says that he's got confirmation that their most hated foe, Jor-El, is under attack by a bunch of different alien species, and now would be a perfect time to catch him in a pincer maneuver and destroy him. Okay, hey, question time. Why aren't old school Kryptonians like General Zod and Jax-Er really freaked out at the idea that Jor-El survived the destruction of Krypton? It seems like something they should care about. Hey, never mind potentially interesting character moments, there's fighting to be had, because surely there's not enough fighting we've seen with Rogol Zaar so far. It also hits me, this many issues and this many stories in featuring the brand new Bendis bad guy, he really doesn't have any interesting ways to combat our heroes, does he? He's just another guy who punches a lot. Which, even though when we do get cool moments like Supergirl and Krypto coming in to reinforce Superman and John, it just feels kinda bland and uninteresting because all they can do is hit each other. It's like when you were over-designing this character, you couldn't go the extra mile and give him, an interesting power to go along with his weird looks. Now, Superman is actually really happy to see Kara because he knows she's been off in her own book actually trying to track down the truth about Rogol Zaar and the destruction of Krypton, and he's super proud because, she did all the hard work for him and he just had to sit on his hands. Eventually, the question gets asked, was it indeed Rogol Zaar who destroyed Krypton like he said he did? Kara answers, yes, which is actually a gross misrepresentation of what actually happened if you've been reading Supergirl, for you see, it's Jor-El who ends up hijacking this conversation and taking away the job of explaining what is exactly going on. Oh sure, Rogol Zaar did the dirty work, but it was the Queen of the Trillium Collective that put him up to it, and the Circle that covered it up. Don't know or don't remember who any of these characters are? Well, then I guess you should have been reading Supergirl. Also, it would seem that Jor-El was actually a member of the Circle, the big universe-spanning Illuminati group that controls world affairs from behind the scenes. Which, in case you're wondering, completely and utterly reframes the entire reason for why Jor-El thought Krypton would be destroyed and why he ended up sending his son to Earth in the first place. But hey, the entire Superman family is together, and surely united there's nothing that can stop them, well, except for themselves, because they decide, hey, what we should really do? We should pull a Scooby-Doo and split up. Hey, John and Krypto, how about you go off with Supergirl and you can have a special tie-in issue of the Supergirl book, and Superman and Jor-El are gonna go to the ruins of Krypton. For you see, it's only there that all the answers will be revealed, but along the way, Jor-El works up the courage to ask his son, hey, what were you talking to General Zod about when you thought no one could hear? Well, wouldn't you know, it turns out Zod's head isn't completely filled with rocks. He knows full well that working with Rogol Zaar is a death sentence, considering that he hates any and all Kryptonians, but he hopes that he can take him down from the inside, and he wants Superman to help him. Oh, but Superman's not sure if he can trust Zod. Zod's sure an untrustworthy fellow, but maybe he can trust his father instead. Despite all the massive red flags that would lead us all as the reader to believe that he can't trust his father, but hey, what does it say about the writing of a story when General Zod seems to be the only logical one? As the comic winds down, Superman even begins to wonder aloud if he even knows the person standing in front of him right now. Is he Jor-El? Is he Mr. Oz? Is he a member of the Circle? What is he? All we know is we'll have to read next time if we want answers. And so that was Superman number 12, everybody, and for better or worse, Bendis is getting closer and closer to finally answering the big question of who actually destroyed Krypton, but I stand by what I said in the previous video, and that is, does it really matter who destroyed Krypton? It doesn't actually affect Superman's life all that much, and the longer we wait and the longer the mystery gets drawn out, the more I just get annoyed as a reader. It's like, shit, or get off the super pod already. It's also really distressing to see just how dumb every hero is in this story. Jor-El is so clearly, undeniably untrustworthy, and yet they all just kind of go along with him like it's no big deal. I also feel really bad for Mark Andreyko, who from what I understand has actually putting in a lot of really good work over on the Supergirl book to try and make this whole Rogol Zaar mystery story makes sense, only to kind of have it brushed over here in this issue. Outside that, this is really more of an action-heavy issue than anything else, and the action is, well, okay, it looks nice, I don't want to take anything away from the art team, but I just have no reason to care about why people are fighting. And if I'm spending all my time asking why and how, then I'm not really enjoying the book that much, am I? Overall, I'd give this a 5 out of 10, and that's being pretty generous, I feel. Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel again. Thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not check out some of these other videos I have available from the channel. Then you can follow me on Twitter and Facebook at Cape Joel, so you're always up to speed on what I'm doing next. And hey, did you know, outside just making great weekly comic videos, I'm also on several comic book podcasts, some of which are very popular. There's the Weekly Pull, which the shirt I'm wearing right now. That one goes every other Tuesday. Then there's the Elseworlds Exchange over on the Comic Pop channel. That's every Wednesday around 3 to 5, give or take. And then how could I possibly forget the Comic Multiverse, the show hosted by myself and Matt of Fortress of Solitude. That one goes live on this channel every Wednesday at 8, and also SoundCloud and iTunes later on. Be sure to check out and subscribe to those if you haven't already. I assure you, you won't be mistaken.